Time for another edition of the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast with you as always, Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network and NFL.com, columnist there, a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Sam McDowell is with us. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB, and we talk some Chiefs football here as they get ready for a big game with the Buffalo Bills. Is a win in this game critical for either one of these teams? Is there a reason why the Bills dominate the regular season? Chiefs seem to manage to dominate the playoffs. Who's the better quarterback in the matchup? Bigger effect on the game, the Chiefs' offensive line absences or Ed Oliver being out for the Bills? Does Chris Jones need to dominate for the Chiefs to get a win? Do the Chiefs have an answer for James Cook? Can the Chiefs win the AFC West if they lose this game? We'll give you our keys to the game and our predictions. It's all coming up right now on the Red, Gold, and Bold.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. As the Chiefs and Bills, big game. So big that CBS wouldn't let it off the network to one of the primetime slots. This is clearly one of the games they hovered over. 3:30 Central Time, 4:30 Eastern Time, or 3:25, 4:25. Big game as far as the networks are concerned. Big game as far as the playoffs are concerned. Jeff, what does it mean? How critical is this game to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, for that matter?
Well, only good game of the week, too. Another rough slate of games leading up to this. So people will be watching. It might do crazy ratings because people will love to see this game. But, yeah, I think this is a huge game for both teams. I think it means more to Buffalo, and not because of the short-term implications, because of the long-term implications. If you're the Buffalo Bills, your best path to getting to a Super Bowl means playing an AFC Championship game in Buffalo. You do not want to have to come to Kansas City for that kind of situation again, and winning this game puts you in the driver's seat to make that happen. I realize that they have a lot more competition in their division now with New England. The Chiefs are not in first place in their own division, but both these teams will be in the playoffs. They'll both be playing meaningful games in January, but only one of these teams has not gotten to a Super Bowl or won a championship ever, and it's Buffalo. And for them to make that happen, they got to win this game.
Yeah, Sam, how about it? This Chiefs team that has been many times to the Super Bowl. Bills haven't made it yet. I'm almost like thinking that this might be a letdown game for the Bills in the sense that they're 4-0 against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but 1-4 in the play. Or I'm sorry, hang on, they're 4-1 in the regular season, but 0-4 in the playoffs. Does that render this game almost meaningless to the Bills as they look at it and go, really the game that matters is later? Or the fact that they've lost a couple of games they probably shouldn't have lost, does that make this a bigger game, more significant game for them?
Well, I watched the game last night with the Ravens and Dolphins, and one of my thoughts was how that factors into this game, which is the Ravens sure look like a team that could wind up as like a 7 seed potentially. I think they could win the division still, but they could wind up as like a 7 seed. We already thought that home field advantage was important, but to me, it's like avoiding that worst case scenario of lining up with the Ravens in the first round. I think if the Chiefs lose this game, the path to the number 1 seed becomes pretty difficult for them. If you don't have the tiebreaker against the Bills, and the Bills have the 23rd hardest schedule remaining. So what is that? The 9th easiest schedule remaining in the NFL after. And by the way, that includes this game. So after this week, they're going to have one of the 5th easiest schedules in the NFL. The Chiefs have the 10th hardest schedule remaining in the NFL. Like, playing catch up with the harder schedule is going to be difficult, I think, for the Chiefs if you're 2 games behind. If I'm including obviously that you wouldn't have that tiebreaker, and it's not just home field advantage. I think that I think a lot of people look at the home field advantage, which is terrific, but you get a win by not playing in the first round. And then for the Chiefs in particular, no NFL coach in history is better than Andy Reid in the situations where you have a bye and your opponent is not coming off of a bye. I think he's like 30-3 in those spots. So to me, it's a number 1 seed. His home field advantage is great, but you get a bye and you have a major advantage in that next game on your path to the AFC Championship. So to me, that makes this game bigger for the Chiefs because their path to the number 1 seed clearly is through these next 3 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's easy as fans. Like, the Chiefs are the best team. It's fine. They went on the road a couple of years ago and they won. They'll do it again. Okay, that they did it. That's not the plan, right? That's like, okay, you adjusted, you adapted, you overcame, but it's still not the plan. The plan is to get the 1 seed. And I'm with Sam, Jeff. When you look at Baltimore, like, that's been kind of the sneaky part, is like, you really wanted Pittsburgh to run away and hide with that division to make it harder for the Ravens to get there. But we did the numbers as far as since, in the 4 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 4 years since we've had a 17-game schedule, only one 10-win team has not gotten there. Right. And 5 9-win teams have. Usually it's because the division is bad and they win the division. That's what's opening up for the Baltimore Ravens in the sense that, like, 9-8 might be good enough in that division. 10-7 will probably get them there. Like, you really wanted to see the Ravens dead and gone just to make it a little bit easier. And if you get to the 1 seed, I don't know, then I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like, well, now you got to play the Ravens in the first round. But yeah, Baltimore's looking like Baltimore again, and that's a problem for anybody who has to face them in the playoffs.
Yeah, no question. And I felt like this was going to happen sooner or later, and it's been a very crazy year with injuries and suspensions here with Rashee Rice and some of the things that have gone on. It's like you get this muted version of what the league is going to end up being, and what we're seeing is the best teams are starting to rise up, and the usual suspects are showing up. Right, Buffalo's getting better, Chiefs are getting better. Ravens are getting better. Chargers are running into form. Broncos are playing better. The Colts are the surprise team. So all these teams, like Jaguars, are probably going to fade out of the picture here. Pittsburgh is a pretender. New England feels real. But I think I'm encouraged because you're going to end up seeing a strong AFC postseason now. And we know that there's going to be a lot of good teams here. And as relates to the Chiefs, I think that this stretch is going to define them. I think that they've played better against lesser teams, but these are the games we're going to find out what they are, right? And so I'm excited to see what that is. But I agree that, they beat up on Baltimore, but that wasn't the Baltimore team we're going to see down the road. The Buffalo team that beat up on Carolina is probably the same team we're going to see this week. There's going to be more of a melding of all these teams coming forward.
Is there a reason, Sam, why the Bills seem to dominate the regular season, yet the Chiefs have their number in the playoffs? Is it just random chance, small sample size, or is there something to the Chiefs hold back in the regular season? They have more that they don't use in those games because they know they'll need it later. What do you put into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is something to that. I don't think it's about concealing anything. I mean, we saw last year's AFC Championship game that all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes as a runner was a thing. Like, design runs, not a scrambler, designed runs was a thing. And I think it's because, like, you don't want Patrick Mahomes doing that 17 times over the course of the season. The Bills have been unafraid to put Josh Allen in those spots. And it's something I'll bring up later on this podcast as well. But I also think, like, the primary reason that the Bills win this game in the regular season is they're just a good team. Like, look at the playoff results, for example. Even Chris Jones mentioned what he remembers about the Buffalo game in Buffalo, that, the Chiefs have won this game 4 straight years in the playoffs. The one that's incurred in Buffalo, he was asked about it yesterday, and what he remembers is the Bills missed a kick. Like, there were tons of plays from that game to choose from. He remembers the Bills missing the kick. We know the 13-second game, like last year's game, I think the Bills caught a lot of breaks in that game and still didn't win. but they were really, really close to winning that game. I mean, 3 of these 4 playoff games have been one play here or there. And, the blowouts have really come in the regular season with the Bills winning by 2 possessions in the regular season. I mean, I really think it's just that simple. The Bills are a really good team. Like they give the Chiefs the best because they're the best the NFL has to offer against the Chiefs.
You see anything to it, Jeff? Is it that easy that the Chiefs just do have another level that they go to? They save, they hold back for the playoffs?
I don't think they hold back. I think Sam's right. I think that the Bills haven't made the plays they've had to make to win these games. I think it's as simple as that. I mean, the 13-second game, I mean, that Sean McDermott probably wants some of those play calls back, right? You're letting Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill run down the field. You're not scripting the kick. That missed field goal, people forget the play before that I think it was Shakur was open on a crossing route for a touchdown, and Chris Jones was able to push the pocket against Dawson, and that screws the play up. Last year, if that play last year, the last play to Kincaid happens in Buffalo, maybe the crowd doesn't affect that play call. Maybe they get a better spot on the short yardage play. It didn't work for them. So I think that's a little bit arrogant to say the Chiefs just go to a different level. I think that tight games, they go either way. And unfortunately for Buffalo, they haven't gone their way. They haven't made the plays they had to make.
Yeah, I'm kind of probably fall in between you two in the sense that I think the Chiefs are unleashing everything they can unleash to win the regular season games. It's just that, like, when you get through 17 games, I think it's coaching. I think the coaching staff has, okay, now we can go to this. Now here's the next thing we can build upon. I mean, I do think, Sam, that there's a coaching advantage, right? Like, I mean, I think that's part of it. We're going to get to the quarterbacks in a minute, but like Andy Reid always seems to be able to pull something else, and Sean McDermott and his staff don't.
Well, that goes into what I said, is the fact that the building throughout the regular season allows you to call plays that you didn't call in the regular season, because you put certain stuff on film throughout the course of the regular season that opens up what they use in the playoffs. Like, that was the Chiefs' offensive game plan against the Bills in the playoffs. They ran specific plays in the red zone that they had been running to Kareem Hunt throughout the regular season, and all of a sudden, RPOs, Patrick Mahomes was keeping the ball with a lead blocker on design runs. We had not seen that from the Chiefs throughout the regular season. So when I say holding back, I mean building throughout the regular season so that your playoff stuff works better. It's not just about, hey, we're going to hold back this trick play throughout the regular season. Like, even the Chiefs' trick plays is based on stuff they've shown throughout the regular season. Like, don't think for a second that the Chiefs didn't put Rashee Rice in the backfield last week for a reason. We're going to see them build off of stuff, whether it's in this game, whether it's in the playoffs. Like, they've got stuff that's built off of stuff that they show throughout film. And yes, that goes into what you said, Soren, the fact that it's coaching. I mean, good coaches do that stuff.
Yeah. And I would also say that, I mean, it's an easy excuse to point to, but Buffalo has always gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to being healthy. I think the Chiefs have, by and large, been in these games, these playoff games, with the healthier team. I think losing Christian Benford last year was a huge loss to them, and you saw the impact it had for Xavier Worthy, what he did in that game a couple of years ago when they were in the playoffs.
Rashee Rice was out last year, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's what, irregardless of that, they got to that game, they won 15 games without him. And so losing Benford in that situation, yeah, for sure, Rice plays maybe it's a bigger advantage for them. But in that playoff game, in that moment when you're counting on a guy, it's different than not knowing a guy's going to be there all season long. That's the point I'm making. And I think the year before that, the same thing. They were down, like, they were playing linebackers off the street. And so, not to say the Chiefs wouldn't have won those games, but I think that's been a factor in the Chiefs' success, being healthy in the postseason, and the Bills not.
Is that maybe the I don't want to say underreported, but maybe the the fact that they're always healthy? Like, how many I know they got a bad report on the training room, on the NFL players thing, but how many times do we sit here and talk about, well, the other team's missing A, B, and C? And there are. And Sam, you just pointed out, there was no Rashee Rice. Like, they weren't 100% healthy last year either. Hollywood Brown was back, but had been hurt most of the year, right? I don't think we can say the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs lost Eric Fisher in that game. One of those AFC Championship games to an Achilles injury too.
I mean, they've not had Mitchell Schwartz. They've not. I mean, Rashee Rice was there
in beating the Bills, but then that caught him.
Yeah, that affected him. Yeah.
I mean, I thought the whole point was that Christian Benford got hurt during the game, and they couldn't respond to that. I just think that the Chiefs' injuries are less talked about because they overcome them better than other teams do. Like they scheme it up better.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like they have them, but well, first of all, I think they have less. And I think the coaching staff does a better job of adapting when they come down. I think all around I think the injury part of the equation, the Chiefs handle better. They do seem to have less players hurt. Right?
I did see Patrick Mahomes win a Super Bowl on one ankle one year too. I mean,
he was out there. He was out there.
I'm not trying to say it's all one or the other. I think they have less injuries. Yeah. But I think when they have them, they adapt to them better. When they lose someone, the coaching staff does a better job of adapting and coaching around it. I mean, even like the left tackle spot wasn't necessarily injury; it was just bad play. But they adapted and they covered up. Like most teams, like when Joe Thuney goes into left tackle, they lose their first playoff game. The Chiefs get through 2 and get to the Super Bowl and still have him playing there. You mentioned Eric Fisher; they don't get beat in the conference championship game.
But he also got hurt at the end of that game too.
What's that?
He got hurt at the end of that game. That game was over when he got hurt.
Yeah. But they still got through it. But in the Super Bowl, it was too much. I do think they're a fairly, knock on wood if you're a Chiefs fan. I do think they're a fairly healthy team. I think all around they do a good job with injuries. Injuries are a part of the game. And it may be as simple as if I went back and Sam, you might be able to, there might be some numbers as far as snaps lost, that are out there. But it might be as simple as, no, they have Patrick Mahomes and he overcomes everything.
I think that's a major part of it for sure.
I do too.
Yeah. But I mean, Patrick Mahomes did miss time in that game. Chad Henne led a touchdown drive in that game. Chris Jones missed a playoff game. What was that against the Texans, I believe? Like, this has happened. Like the Chiefs have had key guys miss time. I also think that the Chiefs are a roster that's built on, during this dynasty run, 3 to 4 players. And so I think when you look at the Chiefs, for example, I don't know that we'd be talking about a cornerback as key of an injury as we talked about Christian Benford missing the game, because that's the way the Chiefs roster is built, is Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones, Tyreek Hill at one point.
And that's the point I'm making is if one of those guys get hurt, it's going to have a huge impact on your team. Like Christian Benford being hurt against a team that's throwing the football and Patrick Mahomes. You lose a good corner against Patrick Mahomes, that's a huge loss. Like Patrick Surtain not playing against the Chiefs a couple of weeks, that's a huge impact to Denver.
There's no doubt. All right, we'll talk about who has the better quarterback. I know that everyone in Kansas City is instantly, automatically going to say Patrick Mahomes, but Josh Allen's been very, very good for this team. We'll talk about that after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. And if you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. All right, let's talk about the quarterback matchup. Who's the better quarterback, Jeff? Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Has this always been the same answer every year, or does it kind of depend on the year and who's playing better?
Well, Mahomes is the better quarterback. But, Josh Allen has not played as great as he played last year. So that's a factor in this. And it's, some of that, again, I'll raise the injury thing. He's had some guys banged up. I think they're playing more of a different style. They really are pounding the ball more on the ground more. And so he's not doing the electric things he used to do. But it would not surprise me at all, as Sam just mentioned, about how you build over the course of the season, if you saw more of that passing, more of the Josh Allen Superman performance in this kind of game, because he understands who's on the other side, the importance of him playing at a high level against Mahomes. And I think they're going to throw a lot at this to try to win this game. So it's Josh Allen's, to me, the second best quarterback in this league. And it's if you're grading Mahomes, if Mahomes is 100, then I think Josh Allen is a 97. And so I think he's in the same company. He's not the better quarterback, but he's on a lot of days, he can do a lot of the same things that Patrick Mahomes can do.
Yeah. What do you see in this quarterback matchup, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give the edge to Mahomes, but I mentioned this when things weren't going well with the Chiefs, that when you look at Buffalo, they put their quarterback in a really good spot. And one of the reasons is they run the ball really effectively. The Chiefs do not. And a lot of stuff opens up for Josh Allen because of that. He sees fewer defenders in the secondary than Patrick Mahomes does when he's playing. I think that's the reason that I would always give the edge to Mahomes, is I just think life is more difficult for him in his situation compared to the situation the Bills have. But, I mean, certainly everything still runs through Josh Allen. And, using that word specifically is like, don't lose sight of the fact that Josh Allen can make plays happen on design runs in this game. And we know the reason the last game went the way it did was because in the regular season game, was because Josh Allen converted a 4th and 2 play that wasn't particularly all that open on the run. And the Chiefs even ran a defense that he was not expecting on that play. It fooled him, and he still gets it. And so there's an element of Josh Allen. Even if I think Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback, we can acknowledge there's an element of Josh Allen's game that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have, which is he's a really big quarterback, and we see him run between the tackles a lot, not on scrambles, on design stuff that is tough, that has historically been tough for this Chiefs team to defend.
Yeah. Is it a case of Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback, Josh Allen's the tougher to prepare for, Jeff?
Well, I think they're both tough to prepare for. I think Mahomes hurts you because you don't expect him to run when he does run. But I think Josh Allen presents a unique problem to the Chiefs defense, just because, and I've said this for years, like Spagnuolo's incredible defensive coordinator, but the way that his defenses are designed, if you have a mobile quarterback, it's very hard to be assignment sound, because you don't have a lot of guys who are playing on defense against the Chiefs are not as athletic as Josh Allen is, and he knows that. And so once he's able to break free, break contain, now you got to worry about a guy who can throw the football 70 yards down the field, run by you, or run you over. And you saw that in that last play against the game-winning play last year, where it was just like bad call, bad situation. He just tucks it and runs 25 yards for a touchdown. And that's where he really gets you. And I think about the Commanders game last week on Monday night, and Marcus Mariota had some situations that if you put Josh Allen in, could be deadly for the Chiefs. And so that's really, every time they play this team, the Chiefs play this team, they have to always be mindful of being in the right spot, being super disciplined. And when you factor in the other weapons like James Cook, that's a really hard thing to deal with a quarterback like Josh Allen.
We saw Trevor Lawrence beat this team with his, had some effect with his legs. I mean, that's the scary part about him.
Yeah, I think, if you want to recognize the importance of this game to the Bills, you should look at the way that Josh Allen's willing to put his body on the line so much more frequently against this team than he is any other. Over his career, he's averaged 6.5 rush attempts per game. He's faced the Chiefs 9 times in his career, and all 9 times, he's had more than 6.5 carries in the game. He averages 10.5 carries against this team. But his success rate has been at least 50% in all 9 games rushing the ball against the Chiefs. Like, this has historically been the Bills' best matchup against the Chiefs, is using Josh Allen in the running game.
Yeah, no, and they will do it again in this one. Is it a matter, Jeff, of Patrick Mahomes has better weapons, therefore he'll play better in this one? Like that, we sometimes he hasn't had the weapons, sometimes he has. Now he does, and do you expect him to outplay Josh Allen in this game?
I think they'll play to a draw. I don't know. I think their weapons are similar, to be honest with you. I think Josh Allen has better running backs. I think Kincaid's probably comparable to Travis Kelce at this stage of their careers. They've got a better receiver in Rashee Rice. The Bills don't have someone like that, but I think that the rest of those guys compare with whatever Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith, Shakir, Keon Coleman. They're the same category. I think they've got a better offensive line. The Bills do, and so I think they're pretty even offensively. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched all the way around. If you look at all the different units, they're pretty. You can find some stars in different places. You can find some okay guys in others. But I think to answer your question, yeah, I think Mahomes and Allen will play to a draw because I think historically that's what they've done. I think this game has been decided by other factors sometimes beyond them, and that's fine because when you want to see two great players, you want to see them at their best, and I think we always get the best from these guys. Mahomes hasn't played as great in the regular season, but in the postseason, you see it really elevate for him.
Yeah. How about the absences in this game, Sam? No, the left tackle spot for the Chiefs is a question mark. Right guard is a question mark. The Bills are going to be without Ed Oliver. What's a bigger effect on this game?
Yeah, I mean, Trey Smith, I think, is trending toward playing. We'll find out more this afternoon from Andy Reid, but he's been at least at practice the past couple of days. Ed Oliver's a big loss for the Bills. I mean, he's fourth among interior linemen in pressure rate. He's top 10 in stuff rate. Like, the Bills don't love to blitz. They try and rely on their front four to generate even just average pressure. Like, they've never been a great pressure team, but they keep other guys in the backfield. And it's hard to do that when you can't generate anything up front. And Ed Oliver's a major reason that works, that they can rank like just below middle of the pack in pressure rate and rank far below middle of the pack in blitz rate. It's because Ed Oliver can mix some things up there. If the Bills start having to blitz, what's been telling to me is the Bills are really good. You guys know I talk about yards after the catch all the time because I'm sure that's what the Chiefs talk about all the time. It is the generator of most of their passing offense. They lead the league in yards after catch again. This could be 4 of the last 5 years they've done that. The Bills have allowed the second fewest yards after catch in the NFL this year. They're really good at that. One of the reasons is they don't send a bunch of guys to blitz. They have other guys in the defensive backfield. They can gang tackle more easily because there's more guys back there. If they start having to blitz in this game because they can't generate pressure without Ed Oliver, that's where you'll see the effect of his absence show up.
Yeah. How about the absences? Does one favor the other, over as far as who's missing what on that line of scrimmage there when the Chiefs have the ball, Jeff?
Yeah, I think Sam's right. Ed Oliver is a major loss for Buffalo. I think Pacheco's health is a big factor in this. I factor him into the trenches run game situation because I think controlling the line of scrimmage in this game is underrated, and it's always been underrated. Because the effect of the losses on the Chiefs' offensive line. I don't know if Trey Smith is going to be 100% out there. We'll see. I think Gregory Rousseau's actually quietly played well for Buffalo of late. People don't realize he's having a pretty good year, but they're going to have to be able. The Chiefs are going to have to be able to control the line of scrimmage on their end of it. I imagine Buffalo is going to try to take away the passing game and force the Chiefs to run the football a lot. And on the flip side of it, I think the Buffalo's going to have to find a way to get pressure without Ed Oliver being a factor in the mix. I think what's probably encouraging for them is that they have gotten some pretty good play in the secondary from their rookie corner, Maxwell Hairston. I think he had a pretty good debut. And if he can be a player for them with Benford and Teron Johnson, that's a pretty good cornerback group. So, but I think the trenches are going to be big, and I think that right now it favors the Chiefs with Ed Oliver being out.
Does Chris Jones have to have a big day? We haven't seen that yet this season. Sam, is this the time for Chris Jones to step up? Do they need him to be an impact more than just pressures, get actual sacks, and also be disciplined and make sure that Josh Allen isn't tearing them apart?
Well, I think we need to start at pressures. Like, he generated 0 pressures against the Commanders. 0. He hadn't done that in 4 years. I think the Chiefs needing Chris Jones, they've proved that that's probably too strong of a word because they have performed at a pretty high level without him being at a high level. They're 9th in DVOA, they're 9th against the pass, they're 9th against the run. And, to give Jeff his flowers on the preseason prediction, Chris Jones has not been good. this year.
Hey.
And, I'm not saying that they can survive with him being a non-factor, and he's not been a non-factor, but against Washington, he was pretty close to a non-factor. I mean, not 0 sacks, 0 pressures in that game. His last 2 games, granted, he did not play much against the Raiders, but this is a percentage of snaps anyway. His pressure rate is 2.4% over his last 2 games. Like, it's tough for the Chiefs defense. I don't know how they've allowed 7 points in 2 weeks with that being the case. Like, it's
look at the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. That factors into it. But I would have told you it didn't matter who they were playing. Like, Chris Jones makes 3 times the amount of any defensive player on the roster. Their defense runs through him, and he's not been at his best the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. What do you see from Chris Jones in this game, Jeff? Is he critical, or have they learned to work around him and just live with the fact that they're giving him a huge chunk of their salary cap, but he's just going to be a pretty good defensive tackle?
Oh, he's critical. I mean, because who else are you in a game like this? Your stars have to play at a high level, and that's Sam mentioned it before when the Chiefs have won pretty much all of their big games. Their stars are played at a high level. You cannot. It's not sustainable to have a defense without Chris Jones doing great things be highly productive, and that's because keeping it real, there aren't that many guys on this defense who are all world players. They got 2 of them. One's the corner and one's Chris Jones. And if those guys aren't getting it done, it's going to be a rough road. And so I look at this again, controlling the trenches. And if Chris Jones is not going to be a factor, I don't see George Karlaftis or Mike Dana or Charles Omenihu, any of those guys getting after Josh Allen and make his life hell. If Chris Jones is not there to do that, then it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Brad says they've done it all year, right? And they've lost.
Well, the Jacksonville game.
I think he's saying they've been playing all year without Chris Jones playing at a high level. And I'm with you. And my response to Brad would be, and they've lost 3 games. Yeah. I mean, they're not undefeated. They're not 8-0. They have done it all year, and they've been beaten at times. So
I think factored into that, right?
Yes.
2 of those games, he was right front and center as part of that.
Look, I was wrong when back in 2019, I was like, you trade Chris Jones, you take the picks, and you move on. Like, he played at a really high level on that next contract. I don't think I'm wrong on this one. Like, they put a ton of money into him, and he's getting old fast. And, and it's not like he's out of shape or doesn't care or is disinterested. We watch him in the locker room, Sam. We see him walk into that room. He's one of the most physically impressive people walking into a room that you can see. He's not out of shape, but just Father Time's undefeated. And, they are. And yes, they have played with him playing at a lesser level, but they're 5-3. Last year they were 8-0. I mean, there's a difference when he's not playing at as high a level. And I think, they're going to have to figure out a way to overcome that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I would want Steve Spagnuolo to be the guy to try to figure out how to overcome it more than anybody else. But let's not just brush it aside. It is something that they're having to deal with in trying to win this game. We'll talk about the running backs involved in this game after you hear from our friends at Frontier Justice.
This episode of Red, Gold, and Bold is brought to you by Frontier Justice, where freedom is a lifestyle grounded in safety, responsibility, and respect. With locations in Lee Summit, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and Jenks, Oklahoma, Frontier Justice offers firearms retail, a premier indoor shooting range, and training all under one roof. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find expert staff, top-tier gear, and a strong sense of community. Faith, family, freedom. That's what Frontier Justice stands for. Visit frontier-justice.com to learn more.
Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. All right, let's talk about the running backs. I know we had a question about Pacheco and what's going to happen with Kareem Hunt in this game. How big a factor, Jeff, is the fact that Isaiah Pacheco is maybe banged up. If they don't have Isaiah Pacheco, what does that do for this offense in your mind?
It puts a ton of pressure on the passing game, and I know they're built for that. But it's Buffalo is a really good team, and they're a really good defense. They're a top 10 defense again.
They're a top 10 defense while everyone's saying they're not playing well. Like,
No.
that's the thing is, like, I heard all the hype about Buffalo. I think you make a great point. And I went to the numbers and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this defense sucks. Like, where?
Yeah.
I think they're second against the pass, I think.
Yeah, they're second against the pass. And they're getting Terrell Bernard hadn't played the last couple games. He had an ankle injury. Milano's coming back from a pec thing. So they've been playing with backup linebackers. But yeah, you want to have all your guns available in a game like this. And so I know we all agree that Pacheco is not our favorite running back on this team or in the league in general. But you think about the options after him, and they're just not great. I mean, it's just the idea of Kareem Hunt carrying a heavy load doesn't make a lot of sense. We have no idea what Elijah Mitchell is, and Brashard Smith is way too light to be a difference maker on a regular basis. And so you want to be able to keep a team like Buffalo honest. I can tell you right now, they're going to take away the deep ball. They're going to try to make life tough underneath for Kelsey and Rashee Rice. And when that happens, you're going to have a running game to offset that stuff. And maybe that means more design runs from Mahomes, which I don't like doing right now this time of year, but they're going to find a way to manufacture a running game. And Pacheco being hurt is going to be a factor in that.
How big do you think it is, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's weakness is they don't defend the run very well. They're 30th in the league in DVOA against the run, which I think, by the way, they played the third easiest defensive schedule this year, which factors into their overall numbers and being second against the pass yardage-wise. But they don't defend the run very well at all. Like, this is a spot where the Chiefs should have an advantage, but it's a spot where they're really not all that equipped to exploit that advantage. And I don't think that's because Isaiah Pacheco's out. I mean, I'd be saying that even if Isaiah Pacheco was healthy in this game. But
wait, you're not president of the
I am not.
club?
That's right.
I am not. I'll give him credit. I thought he had a pretty good day against the Commanders, and I had mentioned the week before. I thought it was worrisome that he thought he had a good day against the Raiders. But to be honest, I think the Chiefs should be interested to see what else they have. Like, it's alarming might be too strong of a word. It's worrisome that with the production they've had on the running game, that Elijah Mitchell can't get on the field. Like, I thought that Elijah Mitchell would get cut based on what we saw in training camp and in the preseason. So I'm not saying they've got some hidden gem with them, but they do have Elijah Mitchell. I don't even think it's a guarantee. It's likely that Elijah Mitchell gets it. I don't think it's a guarantee that they couldn't just elevate Carson Steele or something like that. I mean, if you cannot get in the game now, then when? Like, why are you on the roster? So I think if Mitchell just dresses and gets one carry, why are you on the roster?
Yeah.
At that point, I think the Chiefs should actually be a little bit eager to see what else do they have in the backfield.
I think that's a good point. How about stopping James Cook, PFF's number one running back, Jeff? Do the Chiefs have to stop him, and can they stop him?
I think we get the keys to the game. That's one of the biggest for me. Because James Cook is vastly underrated in this league for what he does. I thought that he was underutilized in the AFC Championship game last year. The Bills went away from him when he was their best weapon in that game. And you saw the game. He's coming off against the Carolina Panthers team that is a pretty good run defense, and he ran for a couple hundred yards against them. He's explosive. He's great out of the backfield, catching passes. And he makes life a lot easier for Josh Allen because you have to deal with one of those two guys using their legs, making explosive plays. And I mean, he's phenomenal. And this is the kind of game where we saw how the Commanders running backs were able to take advantage of Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill. I guarantee you that the Bills are coming in here thinking James Cook, and I think Ray Davis is supposed to be able to be available for this game. They're going to use their running backs a lot, and you're going to see a lot of 6 offensive linemen, a lot of heavy sets, and they're going to try to bang and make things easier for their offense because James Cook's special, man, and he's going to be a big part of this.
Yeah, he's playing at a high level. There's no doubt. And the combination of him and Josh Allen being running threats puts a lot of pressure on the defense. offense. It's not just Josh Allen can run, which always puts pressure. Is the quarterback a running threat? That's a big deal for every defensive coordinator. It's the first thing they start with. Then throw on the fact that their running back is really good. It's why one of the reasons why they're so tough to stop. The Chargers are at the Titans.
Let me mention on that too, because I think that Jeff's right about James Cook. Like when you look at the Bills, what stands out about them, I think to most people from the outside, is Josh Allen, the quarterback. But there's one team in the NFL this year that has run the ball more than they've passed the ball, and it's the Bills. They run the ball more frequently than anyone, despite seeing the 7th fewest light boxes in the league. They also have the highest success rate running the ball of any team in the league this year. Like I said, I know the outside perception is this is all about Josh Allen. The reason the Bills' defense is tough is because their running game is so good. They're always on schedule. Their third downs are always on schedule. Their success rate's so high. They run the ball a lot. Carolina had a good run defense before last week, and James Cook went out for over 200. He leads the NFL in yards over expectation. He's a really good back, and their offensive line is set up to be really good despite no matter who the back is. The one thing I'm surprised by is they haven't factored James Cook into the passing. He hasn't caught a pass in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that changes this week,
I agree.
because I think that they look at what Washington did to the Chiefs in the first half, for example, and say, we're going to throw to our running backs and tight ends a lot in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about what happens if they lose the game. Jeff, can the Chiefs win the AFC West with a loss? Like just the psychological part, like this week, the Chargers are at the Titans. Highly likely they get a win. So if the Chiefs would lose, they fall back from being tied. And of course, the Chargers have the head-to-head win against the Chiefs right now. And the Broncos are at the Texans. Tougher game. I think there's definitely a chance that the Broncos lose that game. But, that right now they're considered to be definitively a better team than the Texans.
The Texans are favored.
Yes, and like I said, I think it's very likely that they go down there and lose. But I think most people would say, oh, the Broncos are better, right? Like the non-betting public would be like, the Broncos are better, they're going to win. The Broncos are 6-2, the Texans are 3-4. If both those teams win and the Chiefs lose, like, is this game send the Chiefs like, okay, the wild card is the path?
This is the result of an 0-2 hole, right? This is where it gets you, because you're not. It's different if you're playing in division. You got, like it was the AFC West a few years ago, where you had some pretenders and some jackasses and some people are going to screw it up. But these teams are well coached and they've got good players. They're, Chargers getting healthier. And so, yeah, it's going to be hard once you get behind the 8 ball. If you're 2 games back, 3 games back going the second half of the season, yeah, making that up is going to be tough, because they still got to play whatever Sam said, the 10th toughest schedule in the league moving forward. So you're going to lose more games. And so, yeah, I think, it'd be really hard. I wouldn't say I would write them off, but now you're relying on Denver and the Chargers, 2 teams falling apart. You can bet on 1 team falling apart, but betting on 2 teams falling apart is a really, really bad bet to make.
Not a must win, Sam, right? There's still a lot of football to be played, but there are also still a lot of tough games. Colts, Broncos twice, Chargers again. If you lose this one, you start getting to be where, if you want to win the division, if you want to be the 1 seed, you start saying, well, now we got to win all these games. What does this do in your mind to their chances of at least winning the division if they don't get this one?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes it more difficult. It would not change my opinion that the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West, but all of a sudden you'd be on the back half of the schedule and could be 2 games. I think the Texans will probably beat the Broncos more likely than not, even if that's 55-45. So I don't think it's a lock that the Broncos would suddenly be 2 games up there. But yeah, you make life more difficult than Jeff's right. The back half of the schedule, you get 2 games behind. It's hard to play catch up. The Chiefs have a difficult schedule remaining. They have a more difficult schedule than the Chargers do remaining. And like I said, it's not going, if the Chiefs get beat by 14, it's still not going to change my opinion that they're a better team than the Chargers and Broncos, but it should change your opinion on their probability of winning the division.
Yeah. It's big. We know it's big just to the head-to-head, but it's also big for the AFC West. What are the keys to the game? Jeff, you mentioned a little bit. What do the Chiefs have to do if they're going to win this game?
Control line of scrimmage. I mentioned James Cook. To me, he's the number one thing. If James Cook is running for 150, 180 yards, this is going to be a rough day for the Chiefs. So as much as it is about Josh Allen, it's really about stopping their run game first, because they're going to try to really control the football game. They're trying to control the clock in a lot of ways. Buffalo's very disciplined and try to make that life easier for their defense, as Sam mentioned. I think that's big. I think finding a way to exploit the Ed Oliver factor is going to be essential. I think that, and I'll just say, Rashee Rice, this is the game that you've been brought back for. This is the game where you find out, is he a number one take over the game receiver? Because I have to think Buffalo is going to try to take some things away down the field, and there should be opportunities for him, especially. I think they can match up well with Kelsey, but Rice is going to have to be a guy who takes over this game.
Yeah. How about you? What are the keys to the game for you, Sam?
Yeah, I think it's not to get caught in the eye candy of Josh Allen and the fact that they want to run this game through James Cook. The Bills want to win this game through their running game. Now, that does include Josh Allen's legs, but I just think that you could get lost saying we got to take away the passing game. They've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's right, by the way. I mean, Josh Allen is one of the best passing quarterbacks in the league. That's just, to me, not the game plan that the Bills are going to come up with. And the reason I bring this up is because of what happened to the Chiefs in week 1. I mean, they came in saying run game, run game, run game, and then Herbert burned them in the passing game. I think if the Chiefs come in saying, got to stop the pass, got to stop this quarterback, they're going to get burned by James Cook in this game. And like I mentioned before, the Bills run the ball more than anyone. They run the ball more successfully than anyone. That is their best path to winning. And so to me, everything's got to go through there. And I think 2 weeks ago, I would have said this is a really bad matchup for the Chiefs defense. They have been surprisingly very good against the run the past couple of weeks. Ashton Genty did nothing. Washington, I think, went like 20 for 60 last week against them. They've been really good the past couple of weeks. And I think that's got to carry over to the game in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think, this they got to make sure that they come in focused, and if they are focused, I think they play a pretty good game. I think the weaponry of the Chiefs is a big distinction over the last couple of years. I think they've got a better chance to win this game than they've had because they do have the weapons, but I don't think they can become one-dimensional. Like, we're going to find out the test of that offensive line. We talked about, Ed Oliver being out, but we're going to find out if they're down Trey Smith and Jalen Moore gets off to a rough start. The Bills will make you pay more than the Commanders made the Chiefs pay when the offensive line got off to a rough start. So, I think it's a fun matchup, as it should be. It's the best game of the week, as Jeff said early on. What's your prediction, Jeff? Who wins? What kind of score you got?
I like the Bills. I mean, they tend to win this game in the regular season. It might be different in the postseason again, but being in Buffalo is a huge factor for them. Knowing that the Patriots are nipping at their heels in that division, I think they get it. I'll take Bills 24-23.
Okay, 24-23. Got a close one, Sam?
I've got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs 27-24, and I guess my rationale is I have a harder time figuring out what Buffalo's going to do defensively than I do the Chiefs. Recognizing that, I mean, I picked the over for those people that are looking in the Vegas. I mean, I think both of these matchups are pretty good for the offense relative to how the defense plays against other teams. But I'm having a hard time figuring out how Buffalo matches up against everything that the Chiefs have to offer right now.
I will go. I think the Chiefs are favored, and this is with the general public knowing that the Bills always win this regular season game, yet the Chiefs are still laying a number. So I think that number's probably been shaved down a little bit because of the public perception. I will take the Chiefs to get it done 28-20. I think they win this game. I think they are right now the better team, and I think it will show on the field. So I'll take the Chiefs 28-20. Shocking, Matt, that I have the Chiefs by the biggest margin. I know Matt will be all over me as he continues to compare our prediction charts. Remember, you can always support the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast by supporting our great sponsors, of course, Gain Asphalt and Concrete. Been with us for years. They've been in Kansas City for years. Since 1994, they've been making parking lot problems disappear. If you own or manage a business, don't have liability issues in your parking lot. No commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warranty. Gan Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Our friends at Italian Delight. Go get them some lunch right now. They do a fantastic job. They've got numerous lunch specials starting at under $10. You can find them online at ItalianDelightKS.com, right there on State Ave, just a few minutes east of the Speedway on State Avenue, and by our friends at Frontier Justice. Lee Summit, KCK, Jenks, Oklahoma. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find expert staff, top gear, and a strong sense of community at Frontier Justice. Find them online at frontier-justice.com. Or Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star. I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.